You are such a treasure. There are so many people who watch your show, who watch clips of your show, who are just so taken with what a kind human being you are.
The gavel falls, but this time it's not in a courtroom. It's the sound of an 87-year-old man's world crashing down. Judge Frank Caprio, the internet's favorite judge, received the news on his birthday, a day meant for celebration now marked by a devastating diagnosis. He had spent nearly 40 years on the bench, facing down every kind of human problem with a gentle smile. Yet he was now the one on trial, facing a battle for his life against an enemy he couldn't reason with.
Frank Caprio, known to a lot of folks as the nicest judge in the world, has died after a long and courageous battle with pancreatic cancer.
The story of his private struggle is a gut-wrenching twist you never saw coming. A birthday of bad news. This is how life can turn on a dime. For Judge Frank Caprio, that turn came on what should have been one of his happiest days, his 87th birthday. While the world knew him as the kind-hearted judge from Caught in Providence, a man who seemed almost immune to the harshness of life, reality delivered a blow that was swift and unforgiving. The diagnosis was pancreatic cancer, what doctors often call a silent illness because of how sneakily it arrives. For a man who had spent a lifetime listening to others' troubles, he now faced a silent battle of his own. The news, when he shared it in December of 2023, sent a shockwave across the internet. It felt deeply unfair. This was the man who forgave a struggling single mother's parking tickets, the man who brought a 100-year-old war veteran to tears with his respect, the man who let children decide their parents' punishment, which was usually a promise to buy breakfast. He had built an empire on empathy. The show, Caught in Providence, wasn't just a local Rhode Island program anymore, it was a global sensation. We're talking numbers that are hard to wrap your head around, clips with billions of views, a Facebook page with over 16 million followers, and fans from countries as far-flung as Iraq sending him messages of support. He wasn't just a judge, he was a phenomenon. But this new fight was different. There were no defendants to reason with, no mitigating circumstances to consider. It was just him against a relentless disease. He did what he had always done. He faced it with courage. He underwent 6 months of chemotherapy and 5 grueling radiation treatments. He even flew cross-country to seek the best care possible, celebrating the end of his radiation by ringing the bell of healing in May of 2024. For a moment, there was a glimmer of hope. His family, his rock for over 60 years of marriage, was by his side. But the illness was insidious. In August of 2025, just a day before he would pass away, he posted a final heartbreaking video from a hospital bed. His voice was weak, but his spirit somehow was not entirely broken. He asked for prayers one last time, a humble request from a man who had given so much of himself to others. The outpouring of love was immediate and immense, a testament to the millions of lives he had touched. On August 20th, 2025, the world's nicest judge passed away peacefully. The tragedy wasn't just that he was gone, it was the cruel irony of a life built on second chances being cut short with no chance for an appeal. The governor of Rhode Island ordered flags to be flown at half-mast, a tribute reserved for public servants of the highest honor. It was a fitting yet somber end for a man who had become a true Rhode Island treasure. But his final quiet battle left the world wondering how the man with all the answers could face such a heartbreaking final chapter. What he learned from his immigrant father would become his secret weapon. The secret philosophy of a viral judge. Long before the cameras, the Emmys, and the viral fame, there was just Frank Caprio, the son of an Italian immigrant. And if you really want to understand the man, that's where you have to start. His father, Antonio Caprio, came to America from Tiano, Italy, with next to nothing. He worked as a fruit peddler and a milkman, building a life from scratch in the Federal Hill neighborhood of Providence. It was a tough life, but it was one built on a simple, powerful principle that he passed down to his son. He would tell him, "Frank, when someone appears before you, I want you to put yourself in their shoes. Imagine it's you standing there. How would you want to be treated?" That one piece of advice became the bedrock of a nearly 40-year judicial career. It's a crazy story when you think about it. The future nicest judge in the world started out just like any other kid from the neighborhood, working odd jobs. He shined shoes, he delivered newspapers, he washed dishes. He had to hustle, but he also had a sharp mind and a strong will. He became a state wrestling champion in 1953 and went on to teach American government at a local high school, all while attending law school at night. This wasn't a man born with a silver spoon. He earned every single thing he got. He even served in the Rhode Island Army National Guard for 8 years. He was appointed to the Providence Municipal Court in 1985, and for years he was just a local judge doing his job. But he did it differently. He remembered his father's words with every case. He saw the person, not just the violation. He understood that a $400 fine could be a minor inconvenience for one person, but a devastating blow for another. He wasn't soft on the law, but he was heavy on humanity. He believed that justice, true justice, had to be tempered with mercy. This philosophy didn't come from a law book. It came from watching his father sell fruit on the streets of Providence, from understanding the struggles of everyday people. He was one of them, and that authenticity, that genuine connection to the common person's plight, was the secret ingredient that no TV producer could ever invent. It was real, but nobody could predict how that secret would explode onto the world stage. An empire built on empathy. Here's the kicker. Caught in Providence was never supposed to be a global hit. It started as a humble show on local public access television back in the 90s, later getting picked up by an ABC affiliate to air late on Saturday nights. For years, it was a local curiosity. But then the internet happened. Sometime in the 2010s, a few clips from the show were uploaded online. One of the first to go viral showed Judge Caprio's reaction to a ticket issued just seconds before it was legally permissible. His common-sense dismissal of the ticket resonated with people. It was a tiny moment of fairness in a world that often feels anything but. And then it just exploded. By 2017, his videos had over 15 million views. By 2022, that number had rocketed to nearly 500 million. Today, the total view count across all platforms is in the billions. Billions with a B. Think about that. A municipal court judge from the smallest state in America dealing with traffic tickets and parking violations was getting more views than most Hollywood blockbusters. The show was nationally syndicated in 2018 and even earned multiple Daytime Emmy nominations. It was a success story so unbelievable it sounds like fiction. What was the magic formula? It was Judge Caprio's unwavering humanity. People were captivated by the moments of grace. They saw him dismiss a series of tickets for a mother who was fleeing a dangerous domestic situation. They saw him forgive hundreds of dollars in fines for a woman who had just tragically lost her son. He wasn't just a judge, he was a public servant in the truest sense of the word. His courtroom became a television studio, but the people and their problems were real, and his compassion was the undisputed star of the show. He created an empire, not of money, but of goodwill. He proved that kindness wasn't a weakness, but a strength, and the world loved him for it. But as his fame grew, it really makes you wonder about the nature of it all. A legacy of kindness and cosmic questions. So here we are, looking back at the incredible life of Judge Frank Caprio. On the surface, the story seems simple enough. A good man becomes famous for being good. But is it really that simple? When you pull back the curtain, you have to ask yourself some tough questions. How did one man's kindness in a tiny traffic courtroom in Providence, Rhode Island, manage to cut through the relentless noise and chaos of the modern world to touch billions of people? Did we all just get lucky that someone started filming, or was there something much deeper, something almost elemental going on? It makes you wonder if we're missing a key detail. In a world saturated with conflict and division, maybe what people were really starving for was just a little bit of understanding. Perhaps his courtroom wasn't just a court, it was a reflection of the world we wish we lived in. A place where people are truly heard, where circumstances matter, and where justice and mercy can walk hand in hand. The astonishing thing is, this wasn't a character he was playing for the cameras. The man on the screen was the same man in private, a devoted husband of over 60 years, a loving father, and a doting grandfather. It was never an act, and maybe that's the most heartbreaking part of the tragedy, that a force of such genuine, unpretentious good could be challenged by something as relentlessly cruel as pancreatic cancer. Yet the sheer scale of his impact defies conventional explanation, which has given rise to a fascinating undercurrent of wild fan theories. Some viewers, unwilling to accept his goodness as mere chance, have speculated that Judge Caprio was a temporal guardian, a traveler from a grim future sent back to our time. His mission? To subtly alter the trajectory of human history by injecting a massive viral dose of compassion into our collective consciousness. In this theory, his courtroom wasn't a random assignment, it was a calculated nexus point. And the viral videos were the carefully planned delivery mechanism for ripples of empathy meant to avert a darker timeline. Another compelling theory posits that he possessed a rare latent psychic ability, hyper-empathy. This wasn't just wisdom, it was a supernatural capacity to feel the truth, the remorse, and the desperation of the people standing before him. The courtroom, and particularly the cameras, acted as an unwitting amplifier, broadcasting this powerful emotional frequency across the globe. This would explain why watching his videos feels so profoundly moving and almost therapeutic. Viewers aren't just observing kindness, they are subconsciously receiving a transmission of pure, unadulterated compassion, momentarily healing a small part of their own cynicism. The wildest theory, however, suggests he was something not entirely of this world, a benevolent celestial being or an angel in human form on an earthly mission. His post in a humble traffic court was the perfect disguise, allowing him to deliver moral parables for the modern age. His rulings weren't just legal decisions, they were lessons in forgiveness and humanity, broadcast to a species that had forgotten how to listen. In this light, his passing isn't just the loss of a good man, but the departure of a guide sent to remind us of our better selves. Whether you believe he was a time traveler, a psychic, an angel, or simply a profoundly decent man from Providence, the result remains the same. His story proves that one person truly can make a monumental difference, but it also serves as a painful reminder of how fragile life can be. His legacy is a challenge to us all, to find the kindness within ourselves and to recognize the extraordinary power of simple, human decency. Did the world make Judge Caprio a star, or did he simply show the world what it was missing? Like and subscribe and let us know your thoughts in the comments below.